friends, happy Monday and welcome to math. Today we are going to focus on finding the area and the perimeter of a rectangle. So just a reminder, a rectangle is a four-sided polygon. Opposite sides are congruent or equal, and then the other opposite sides are congruent or equal. So in class already, we already did some review. And then on your own, you watch this area and perimeter video. If you didn't already do so, you can find it in the slides on slide 521. Just click on it and watch it. Kind of talks about some of the vocab and stuff we're going to learn about. First, you want to just talk about perimeter. You'll see when we talk about it that we'll just simply write a capital P. And that capital P means the perimeter. Perimeter is the distance outside or around a polygon. When I say polygon, I want you to say shape. Polygon, polygon. So the distance around it. Now I want you to think of the real world. Why would we need to know the distance around a shape? Well, right now here at school, they're doing a lot of construction. And in my classroom, they are going to redo the border along the walls. They call it like a trim. So that's the distance around my room. They're going to try and put new border up. So they're going to have to measure and find the perimeter or the distance around my room. So it means the outside, okay? To find that, we just simply add up all the sides. Now, to have a regular polygon like this rectangle here, it would be quite easy. We'd add up 8 and 5 and 8 and 5, or we can say 8 and 5, add them, and just multiply it by 2 because we know there's 2 of each side. Sometimes we have irregular polygons, right? Not everything we do is going to be a perfect shape. So over here, we'd have a lot of sides we'd have to add up. I also want you to notice the label. It's very important to have a label. Could you imagine if one of the construction workers labeled my room in like inches, but really they were supposed to be doing it in feet? They would order all their supplies, buy them, it'd get here, they wouldn't even be close, right? So a label is very important. Perimeter, distance around a shape. Now, area is the distance within a shape, inside of a shape. So in this case, it's the middle. I like to think of it as like the carpet or the grass. So for example, if they were going to redo my floor, they would need to find the area. We show area by using the symbol A. A is for area. And we take the length and we multiply it by the width. Another way you can do it is you can simply sit here and you can add up all these blocks. Now, for this one, it doesn't seem like that hard because there's only 12 square units. If you were talking about my classroom and adding up every square foot, that may take a little while. Or for the whole school, no thank you. So multiplying is definitely our easier option. I also want you to notice the label for when we're talking about area. Because we're talking about a two-dimensional area, we're talking about the length and the width, your label will be in units squared or squared units because it's two-dimensional. So you'll see right here, I don't know if you can see it that great, they have a little 2 because it's showing that it's squared, okay? If it's an irregular polygon over here, not your just regular rectangle or square, what you would need to do is break it up into parts and then add those parts together. Today we're going to practice this, so don't panic. Let's go ahead and dive in. First, we're going to find the area of this regular polygon, also known as a rectangle. So what I see here is I see perimeter equals, and I see that there's 4 sides. I know that because it's a rectangle, this side is 4 and this side is 4. I also know this side is 7 and this side is 7. So I'm going to do 2 times 4 plus 7, the length and the width. So first order of operations, I would start by adding my 4 plus 7, which we know is 11. And I would multiply that by 2. Notice that I'm rewriting my formula. First, I have my equation. Next, I have kind of like in between solving it. And last, I have my answer, which in this case, 2 times 11 is 22, and the label would be units. So that's my perimeter. We could also double check and we could count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't want to because it's going to take a while, but I could. Let's try the area. The area is the length times the width. So I'm going to do area equals length times width. And then I'm going to show my equation. What am I truly solving? So I'm doing area equals 4 times 7. 4 times 7 is 28. Now, this is your choice. You could do 28 units squared, or you could say 28 squared units. Either one, same thing, but you need to have that label to make it correct. Okay? Let's keep moving, friends. So why do we need to know area and perimeter? We kind of talked about this a few minutes ago. Area and perimeter, if you're going to be building or if you're going to be creating things, this is a great thing to have. Right now at my house, Mr. Andrews and I are redoing one of the bathrooms, and we had to go pick out floor. So we had to find out the area of the bathroom to know how much floor to buy, because Mr. Andrews gets mad at me when we run out of supplies and he has to go back to the store in the middle of a project. So we want to make sure we have enough, right? So area, the amount of space within a shape. Perimeter, the distance around. My mom has a garden, and last year they put a fence up the perimeter of the garden to keep animals out. So she needed to find the perimeter of her garden. Just examples of how we may see it. Just things to remind you, you have the length and the width, and make sure you always have your label when you're talking about area, that it's got to be a squared because we're talking about multiple dimensions. All right, let's get started trying to find some. So let's start with A, figure A, trying to find that area and perimeter. First, we need to find out the lengths of the sides. They didn't tell us the measurements. So I want you to pause your video and try to figure that out, and then check back with me. Okay, so now that we know the sides, we have the length and the width, we can find out that area for A. So when we're talking about area, remember we're talking about the length times the width. Our length was 7 units and our width was 9 units. Now, if you're someone that maybe forgets, oh, which side's the length and which side's the width, that's okay, because in this case, it doesn't matter 7 times 9 or 9 times 7, it's going to equal 63 either way. And then remember, you can have units squared, or you can say 63 squared units, your choice, okay? So that's my area for A. Now perimeter, let's change up our color so it's easier for you to see. Perimeter is adding up all the sides. So I have 2 sides that are both 7, and I have 2 sides that are both 9. So I'm going to do 9 plus 7 and multiply those both by 2. So I have 9 and 7 is 16. Oh my typing skills are off today. And 16 times 2 is 32 units. Remember, we're just talking about the distance around, so we're not talking about multiple different dimensions and things. So it's just 32 units. I want you to go ahead, pause your video, and try B all by yourself. Find the length, find the width, then go ahead and find the area and perimeter, and check back with me. Good luck. All right, friends, thanks for trying that one on your own. Once you found your measurements for the sides, then you were able to find the area. Oh, Mrs. Andrews, look what she did. I wrote for my perimeter squared units, and that is so not true. So let me fix that. It's just units. I'm going to cross this off. because it's the perimeter. You need to make sure you do have your label because like we talked about, like the doctor's office, what if they messed up or didn't have the right label and you were only supposed to get a tablespoon of Benadryl, but they gave you a gallon. Could you imagine? So make sure you have your label and you have it in the correct spot, unlike Mrs. Andrews here. All right, friends, you're going to try another one on your own, and then you can check back at your video to see how you're doing. So determine the perimeter and area of each rectangle. So the measurements are there. You just have to find them out. Pause your video, try it on your own, and check back. Good luck. All right, friends, for the area, you should have 30 centimeters squared, or you could have 30 squared centimeters, either one. Notice that the measurement that they're talking about is centimeters, though, so make sure you're matching the measurement. And then for the perimeter, we could have added them all up. This is your way of showing work. So I know a lot of you are like, oh, Mrs. Andrews, I can just add 5 and 5 is 10, 10 and 6 is 16, 16 and 6 is 22. I could just do it in my head, and that's great. But I need to see your work. I need to see your thoughts. So make sure you're showing your equation, what you put in for it, how you multiplied it, added, whatever you did to get your perimeter. All right, there's one more for you to try on your own, and then they'll we'll try to step up our game, okay? Try the next slide on your own, just to see if we're getting the hang of it, and check back with me. So pause your video. All right, friends, go ahead and double check your work. Make sure you have your labels, and then we will move on to the last question before your exit ticket. So this one says, if the area is 80 square centimeters, find the value of x. So we already know this entire amount of space here is 80 centimeters. I'm just going to share what I know. So I know area is length times width. But in this case, I know the area is 80 square centimeters. I know the length is 8 times, and we're calling it x because we don't know the width. So I'm trying to figure out something times 8 that equals 80. Really, my equation is going to be 80 divided by 8 equals what? And it's a division equation because I'm finding that missing value. I know my patterns of 10, so I know 8 divided by 8 is 1. Add my 0, and let's check. 10 times 8, it really does equal 80. So I could write, well, down here, x equals 10 centimeters. My area is 80 centimeters squared times my length of 8 and my width of 10. Okay, so what we did was we kind of did the inverse operation to figure out our answer. Okay, nice work today, friends, with area and perimeter. I want to see how you're doing with it. So if you go to Schoology, there is a quick exit ticket for you. Open it up in Notability, show all your work, and submit it back. Thanks for working hard. Good luck.